What's up, everybody? Welcome to Eat, Sleep, Anime, the only show that protects you from Truck Coon. I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined by the filler season of Veroni Kenshin, Derek Daniel. Derek, how's it going, my man?
First of all, rude. Second of all, like you're talking about the filler of the 94 series, right? I was gonna say because the 2023 version does not have filler. Thank goodness.
No,
Thank
I'm talking about that really bad season. Or I could have been really mean, Derek, and been like the last season of Yu Yu Hakusho.
Then I would have had to make a special trip down to whoop your butt. Actually, I wouldn't even. I just would spirit gun you right through the computer.
Derek, I'm excited that we're doing Eat Sleep Anime, second episode of the year. Everybody, let us know how you are doing down in the comments below. We're here and I'm excited. We got an awesome show. We're talking about shows that we've been watching. We're going to dive deep into Apothecary Diaries season 1. We've got our Kage Summit, which we're going to be talking about the anime of the year from Crunchyroll's their anime awards. And then we've got some ramen toppings, and we have 2 trailers that just released this week. Some big ones, some big hitters.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing.
They knew.
Yeah,
they knew.
They're like, hey, you want some extra content? You want to do a reaction? Here you go, guys.
Boom. Amy says, doing well, wiped out from the beach yesterday. Yeah, we went to the beach and it was great. Got to try out the new chair.
Yeah.
It was awesome, dude. And we discovered we need like some fans. So I bought like a fan to like blow on us, and then like it gets hot on the back. So I got like some fans that we can put like on our like waistband or whatever, like blow up our shirts and all that. Yeah. I'm excited, and middle age is definitely hit. Well, not middle age, because people live to like 80s, 90s these years, but y'all get what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But guys, I am making it bougie. I am 1,000%. Go big or go home. That is the Zach way.
Yeah, that is the only way.
Yeah. I also make things very complicated when I have the opportunity. Isn't that right, Derek?
You never.
How many times like, hey, we're doing something different tonight, and you're just like,
hey, we're gonna do something different. Hey, I'm gonna send you a link to add into this last minute. I'm just like, okay, I just roll with the punches at this point. I'm just like, that's like the mad scientist behind the computer. He's just concocting up different ways just to add to the show, and I love it, but it's also like, brother, why?
Yeah. I'll like figure something out, and it's like, okay, I got to do it today, and it's that's Derek's face. Yeah. Oh, so Derek, let's jump into our first segment of the show. What you been watching?
I'll say, Zach, you've been, not that I've been having caught up on other things, like catching up on like rewatching old seasons. Like we'll get into that later for reasons, but I haven't watched too much, at least not that much more than you. One of the things that I think we'll both discuss here right off the bat is something that we have actually done differently this spring anime season and watched, well, not new for me, not new for you, and that is watching My Hero Academia Vigilantes. That it's got one more episode. It comes out Monday, so that it will be the finale. I don't expect too much just because of what happened through episode 12. So I don't expect too much. Probably a cliffhanger to set up what the next season is going to detail. But it is something that I did not expect, because usually, not all the time, but usually when you do spinoff shows, it doesn't hit like the original does. And I mean, for obvious reasons, it's a spinoff. It's something different. Like you're not expecting it to be on the same level. Every once in a while, like if you're I know this is not anime, but if you're Better Call Saul, a spinoff of Breaking Bad, you're just as good, almost if not better than Breaking Bad, to be fair with you. So there's the rare instance, but we both have loved My Hero Academia, especially these last couple seasons that they've put out. And we thought, okay, let's see what this other world, because this is a prequel. It's like, we talked about it in our first couple episode review. Having Midoriya do the intro and basically like, oh, this is before I even stepped foot in UA. I'm like, oh wow, this is that far. And then like, but still seeing familiar faces like Aizawa, like Present Mike, like Miss Midnight, it's just, it still hits those nostalgia beats, but it's so different because you're seeing it from the vigilante side. And we're not, if you're into the superhero world, you all know all about vigilantes, like Batman is a vigilante, that kind of thing. Deadpool, I mean, he's more of a mercenary for hire, but he's an anti-hero, you could say.
Yeah.
But it's just different to see this world in like a different light, and to see like, okay, there's just the core 3 characters in like the supporting cast. It's not like a class of 20 people that you try and have to keep up with and see, give them all different screen time. But it's cool.
We'll remember all of those names because Zach ain't about that life.
Kryptonite. That is your kryptonite, is names and pronunciations. But I can only imagine if someone asked you how to spell those names. That would be just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
But it's different, like especially the teacher. Like he is definitely, like I said to it in our initial reactions video. I was like, this is like Drunken All Might's uncle, like
Freaky Fist Grandpa.
Yeah, exactly. And
FFG.
But seeing him there is like, he is a mentor, and you see it later on in the season. Like he is training Koichi, the main hero, and the main hero actually has a quirk. It's not like Deku, who was born quirkless. And it isn't, but it's not a stellar quirk. Now there is an instance where he does have a moment of an upgrade, like for his ability, and that is cool. He does get his moment, and then seeing like the girl character Pop Step, like seeing her, like, yeah, she's not the typical hero aspect, like she just wants to be like a pop idol, hence the name. But seeing her have her moment at the end of this season, or toward the end, like this last arc of the season, has been very fun to watch as well. And just like the dynamic that you see, like there's history between Koichi and Pop that he doesn't know, that she remembers once she sees the hoodie and everything, or once he talks about the hoodie. But Knuckle Duster is I think is the most interesting character this season, just because he just burst onto the scene. He's not as graceful or elegant as the heroes, and but he is super powerful. And then you find out why he has to do the things he has to do, and you find out that in episode 2 it gives it away. He's, spoiler alert if you haven't watched Vigilantes, 3, 2, 1. He is quirkless.
Yep.
He you haven't seen, like, it's very rare that you see a teacher that doesn't have some type of like super ability in a shonen anime, but he does. He's just basically a tough son of a gun, and full of, as you would say, or as we talked about it with Bakugo, just full of piss and vinegar.
Yeah.
But you think he's kind of like ditzy in a way, or like he doesn't care, he just wants to break stuff up and just like punch first, ask questions later. But you see, like in episode 2 or 3, whichever it was, with the business guy, that he has great intuition. Like he's like, oh, he's involved with it, and they're like, no, he's just a regular guy. He's
got toys.
Yeah, he's a creator or whatnot. He's just trying to get home from his 9 to 5, and then you find out, no, he actually is involved with this trigger drug that's going around with these pop-up villains, and you start to figure maybe Knuckle Duster isn't an idiot after all. He's actually knows what he's doing. And of course, the only thing I would criticize about Vigilantes is the middle of the season, like that what they call the Senpai arc, where they introduce that American hero, Captain Celebrity.
Dude.
Yeah, he reminds me of like those cheesy, like, you remember Ratchet and Clank Captain Quark? Like he reminds me of him. Like just plays a hero and is like the face of like a lot of posters, but when the rubber really needs to meet the road, doesn't really fall through. But that's the only weak spot of this season, in my opinion. I think it's been a solid season. I would say I would go out on a limb and say I think it's a better season 1 than the original My Hero, at least for me, just because My Hero, and I've talked about it time and again, the original My Hero just started so slow for me that it wasn't until like the last 4 episodes with the like the training camp arc at the end that it really hit home, or it really struck the right chord with me finally. But seeing Knuckle Duster's motive for what he's doing, and then you see it play out at the end of this like season and like the final arc was so cool. Like, and you like, I kind of feel like it was kind of rushed and like, but you kind of had hints throughout the show of like the villain and Knuckle Duster having some kind of chemistry together, because you see it's like, oh, like squash one of the bees and that affects the villain, and it's like, okay, cool. I did like the Stendhal arc a lot as well. It was only 2 episodes, but seeing that origin as soon as I heard, because it came out simuldubbed, which is the reason I watched it episodically, week to week. And when I heard Robert McCullum's voice as Stain, or the voice actor of Stain, I'm like, oh, this is that. Because when you're reading the premise, it's like, oh, he's all about justice and all that. I'm like, is this about to be the origin of Stain? And sure enough, it was. And I was so happy.
Well, when he's like murking people, I was like, okay. I was like, he's using a sword, and then I was like, okay, it sounds like him. But when he attacked that like Yakuza gang
and he licked
like
the blade, I'm like, yep.
I was like, yep, here we go. But I love that. Like, the pacing in this is, I would say, better than, like you said, season 1. But season 1 had to do the heavy lifting for everything after.
Oh, for sure.
Season 1 of the My Hero Academia. So this like is able to kind of just take up from where that's left off and everything. But the character development of all 3 of the main characters, I think, is done really well, and even like showing how like Pop Step like comes into her own. You kind of touched on this, but like she's not in the fight, like she's not a fighter, but she's like able to direct people away from danger and all of that.
She's a support hero.
Yeah, and I like, you think about that, it's like, oh, that'd be kind of boring, if you're that hero, but it's like, it's essential when you really think about it.
Right.
And it was cool seeing like Ingenium, like the original Ingenium in this one, and like his powers and who he is and everything.
Because you really don't get to see him, because the only time we get introduced to the older Ingenium is when Stain takes him out.
Yeah, and you see him like in the hospital once, and it is like interesting that both of them are in this first season.
Right.
But Stendhal was a really cool way to kind of like push the story forward, and like him coming to that decision that most heroes are playing other than All Might. And it was literally because of Koichi trying to save Spiky dude. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But it's like he literally makes that decision, and that determines so much later how he acts and everything. So it's some big moments that lend itself to all of it. But the way, like, we're not going to get into spoilers here, but dude, I feel like this is a very strong first season.
Correct.
And because Knuckle Duster, you don't really know much about until the last part of it, because it starts with like Koichi, then you get some of Pop Step, and then the very end you get Knuckle Duster, or Freaky Fish Grandpa. I love I love like that description of him. But like you get his like origin, who he is, why is he doing this, and like it's sad, like it's some dark stuff and everything. And like I highly suggest, if you like My Hero Academia, you definitely need to be watching the show.
Right.
It is really good. And the fight, like at this episode we just had, was really cool.
It was.
It
really, like,
the planning, like he definitely feels like a really budget friendly Batman.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But it really smart.
Yes. And how he got about the tech to do it too. I was like, that's such a, like, again, it's such cool tie-ins, because like we didn't even talk about like the only best part about that middle arc with Captain Celebrity was Makoto, Like, first of all, her quirk, the lie detector, is pretty cool. Like, especially for her as like the reporter. But seeing that she is related to Sukauchi, who is very like pretty much best friends with All Might. I'm like, I wonder how, because at first I thought that was his wife. And I'm like, well, I don't remember him being married in My Hero. But then it's like, oh, you can't do anything for your sister or anything like that. I'm like, okay, cool, they're siblings. But the question still stands, because we don't see her at all pop up in My Hero. Does she make it out at the end of Vigilantes? Like, I hope nothing bad happens to her, because I do like her as a character, and like the involvement with Koichi, especially like when, you know, how it helped her get over with his mom, you know, at that episode. So I hope nothing bad happens. I hope she does make it out and just like, oh, like, I'm going off to do my own thing type thing.
Goes to bigger and better things.
But seeing the shadow like seeing like the little shady arms dealer that we see that helps the League of Villains. Yeah, like I'm like, dude, that is such a great callback, because he can't go to like the professionals because he's a vigilante. He doesn't have a license. He's not verified. Like none of them will help him out. So what do you have to do? You have to get down in the grunge, and you have to get your hands dirty a little bit. And this is how. But it was such a great callback.
Yeah, and like showing like, I know Captain Celebrity is annoying, but like the way his character has to change is very, very funny. And I don't want to get too much into all of this. You definitely need to go watch it. It's 13 episodes, correct, Derek? It's going to be 13.
So the last one airs this Monday.
You need to go watch
tomorrow, actually. I'm thinking this is Saturday for whatever reason. So yeah, tomorrow.
You need to go watch it. You're going to definitely enjoy it and see a lot of stuff from the world develop, because you see like Eraserhead and President Mike like actually active as heroes instead of being just teachers. Same with Midnight and everything. Like you see them in the field more and everything, which is really, really cool. So Derek, anything left on Vigilantes you want to say before we move to the next show?
I'm excited. Now one thing to note that I did some background research on this, because you know I like to get into the arc, see how much this is only just over like 100 chapters in the manga, like 120 something chapters. We are already 28 chapters in, so we are a quarter of the way through the story. So I don't expect it to be, there's 6 arcs left, and it's nice how it kind of goes. It's like a short arc, like less than 10 episodes, then a long arc like 20 or more. So it goes short, long, short, long, short, long. So if they wanted to like this, don't expect it to have the same drive unless they do a bunch of filler, which I hope they don't. Like last as long as the original My Hero. Like My Hero is on season 8, the final season, but don't expect it. Like I could see 3, maybe if they stretch it to do like, if they keep it like a 13 episode format, they could do 1 short, 1 long arc, and they could squeeze it to 4 seasons in total. But enjoy it. But that means it's going to be more impactful. I did kind of not spoil it, but I did, because I didn't read too much into it. But there is an arc that goes to back to school days that I think will involve like a younger, like back to with President Mike and Aizawa. That'll touch on that a little bit. So
okay, all right.
It's one of the shorter arcs, but it does. I did read the non-spoilery premise. I'm like, okay, I wonder how we get to this point, but it's still cool. So that is something that's going to be upcoming. Just please be excited for it. Like I think it will be just as good. I think when it's all said and done, it will be just as good, or have just as much mind share as My Hero Academia when it's said and done.
Yeah, that's volume 8 of the manga. That story which you were just talking about. I'm looking at all the volume covers over here on my other monitor, and I'm excited for it, dude. Go support this so we get more of this. I know My Hero Academia is definitely going to get more seasons. You know, we don't have to beg for it as much. But real quickly, I did watch Somali and the Forest Spirit, and Amy and I watched this. This is a really cute, kind of low stakes feel to it, or it begins that way. And everybody needs to go watch it if you want. I think it's like 24 episodes.
I think so.
Hold on, let me look. Somali and the Forest Spirit. We've only got 1 season so far. 12 episodes. It's super short. But dude, you're going along, you're like, okay, not a lot of stakes, and then bang, like it just comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, holy crap, this show is like legit.
Right.
Very cute art style. The voice actor, the dude that plays the Golem is actually Gohan.
Oh, Kyle Abear, that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, that's Gohan, but he plays like very no emotion, just like it's really, really good. Amy and I watched it, and we got to the end of it. It does a good job. Like, you get kind of like a story, bookend type deal, but there's the larger story that's going on. But they're traveling, they're trying to find humans, and humans in this world are all but extinct, pretty much.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And when they find them, they're either slaves or they're eaten.
Okay.
Yep.
Promised Neverland.
Yep. So it's really good. I highly suggest it. Derek, tell me about Bungo Stray Dogs.
Yeah, I figured I'd throw this in here because you keep jabbing me with it, like, because it's the name. So it is 5 seasons long. It is a basically detective mafia type of story, but it has superpowers, like this guy named Atsushi, who has this curse of turning into a white tiger. Ends up like he's kicked out of an orphanage. He has a rough upbringing. Like, he was pretty much like treated as like just basically like not a slave, but pretty much just treated poorly. Like, got poked and prodded all the time. Got mistreated. Like, got treated like a secondhand citizen or worse. But he gets kicked out of his orphanage that he grew up in. Multiple orphanages he bounced around, and ends up at the Armed Detective Agency, which is people that help, is out to solve mysteries, stop, stop the main, one of the first villains you get introduced to is the Port Mafia, which is like they're by a portside bay that want to, like, pretty much has a lot of heavy influence over what goes on in the town, like the shadow dealings and whatnot. But everyone has like a special ability. Endeavor, his voice actor Patrick Seitz is one of the voices of Kunikita, and Gojo's voice actor Kaiji Tang is the voice of Dazai, who is like one of the most notable characters. And they're like, he's obsessed with death and finding different ways to, like, I was like, I wonder how it feels like to die by this or something like that. He's very eccentric in the beginning, but he has a broke power. He's basically Aizawa and Kakashi. His ability is, and they have weird names like No Longer Human, but its ability to nullify every other ability from the person he touches.
Like indefinitely, or is there a time limit on it?
I mean, like, as long as he's touching the person, they can't use their ability. But once he loses contact, they can use their ability again.
So kind of like Eraserhead.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So, it's very, like, the cast is very great. Like, all of them have, like, of course there's limits, like the powers can't be super broken, but there is, like, it is interesting in different ways. Like Kunikita, his name is like, his ability is like Dopo Poet, which anything he writes in his notebook he can use, but it can't be anything, like, he has to know the properties of it, and it can't be bigger than his notebook. So like stun grenade, like handgun, stuff like, so it's interesting how he gets through that. But then some abilities, like, they have their healer, like their nurse, who is like, thou shalt not die. Basically, she has to pretty much put the person on the brink of death, and then all of a sudden they get they bring back to life, and they get, how Overhaul's ability in My Hero did, like, was reconstruction. It's like any fatal ability, like, it's got to be near fatal. It can't, like, kill them, but then, like, she pushes them over the threshold to basically death in order to revive them.
Okay. So we've got like a Momo character, but with a notebook.
Exactly.
And then the Thou Shall Not Die is pretty interesting as well.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. And like the Port Mafia, but then like, that's their, go ahead.
In that case, the curse is worse than the disease.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like you almost want to die and just not be revived. But no, and so seeing like how the first season played out, I was like getting introduced to all the characters, like the pretty much Shigaraki, but also like the Frieza character named Octagawa, like, that's involved with Atsushi. Because you see throughout the show, like the course of the show, there's like the head of the Port Mafia, the head of the Armed Detective Agency, Dazai, and then one of the characters from the Port Mafia, and then Octagawa and Atsushi all have powers that complement or like make good
Mhm.
combos, and like they talk about like these unstoppable duos
Mhm.
throughout the history. And it does some different things, like like after season 1, like seasons 2, 3, and 4, I think, do like an intro, like does like a backtrack in time, like a light. They go back to the light novels and basically like, oh, here's the origin of how like there's a guy named Chuya who was like Dazai's partner, like when they were running in the Port Mafia back in the day, and like how Dazai and Chuya met and became like the unstoppable tag force in the Port Mafia before Dazai said, I'm over this. I need to help people rather than hurt people. I'm out.
Hmm.
You know, it does that, but it has stuff that leads into like the villain or like an idea, like whatever the main season centered around. The prequel, those first couple episodes that like predate it, is like the setup version, which is done well in my opinion. But just seeing like how they're like seasons 2 and 3 are like the best in my opinion. Seasons 4 and 5 are good, but I feel like they, and you'll see it throughout it, like because I caught myself saying it in season 4, like the plot armor is all of a sudden like just very thick and heavy. Like all of a sudden, like
Mm.
they've got one of the main characters dead to rights, and all of a sudden something happens that counters this. And I'm like, that's plot armor. That is that's not like good writing. That's not just, oh, luck of the draw. That's not just right time. That is just plot armor. And I'm like, okay. And then season 5 just kind of ends. Like it builds up to like, because season 4 and 5 have this like 2-part story that they tell, and it really sets up nice because it's like world ending event. And then it just kind of like, it kind of gets corrected very fast and then like ends. The manga is still going on and there's still stuff to tell, but it's like, I don't know. It's like some backdoor politics. Like I don't know if it's like the animators having issues with trying to continue it, or like the fans just like being like, "Oh, this is not how we wanted this last couple seasons to go." Kind of, I don't know, but it has a nice premise. The power systems are very unique and intriguing. I do like the stories of a lot of like the characters and just how like what like the villains that
Yeah.
keep getting, like the newer villains of each season keep getting introduced. So it has premise. It's a solid B tier anime in my opinion.
Hmm. Okay. Like, yeah, it sounded pretty cool at the beginning, but like what you're saying is like, it gets
Yeah.
a little weaker as you go on. One that Amy and I have also been watching is Ascendance of a Bookworm, and this was where we were looking for something that's along the lines of Apothecary Diaries, because we'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the end of season 2. Amy doesn't watch any non dubbed things,
Right.
so we were like, okay, we got to find something. But we stumbled across this Indus of a Bookworm, and the premise is pretty interesting. It's an isekai. The girl, she was like a college student, and she was about to become a librarian. She's in the library. All these books fall on top of her and kill her. So she gets sent to another world where she's born, or she's put into a sickly child's body. She's like 5 or 6
Oh
at this
wow.
point, and like she can't even go down the stairs without like almost passing out. Like she's super sickly, and there's no books in the world except when you are like a noble, and she's like born in a very
Oh,
poor.
so classism. Got you.
Yeah, but the story is really, really good. The first half of it, like, you start out and it's like, okay, what is this? And it's like, oh, I'm gonna find out like more about your story, and then there's like some
Mm-hmm.
magic, and then you go back to like where she's like takes over the body, and then the first half is like all of her origins in that world, and she has all of the knowledge that she had in our world, so she's like coming up with like how to make paper, and then like hairpins and all of these things that are not there in that world. And she's seen as like this genius. She introduces like pound cake, and people are losing their minds. It's just that over and over again.
So what that sounds like to me, I mean, it's not just like copy repeat, but it's like it kind of has a lot of that same. It's pretty much like a magic version of Dr. Stone, because Dr. Stone, like,
Mm,
they all get frozen. Civilization degrades back to the Stone Age, and they pretty much. But they have the modern knowledge, like the guys. Some of the guys who get unfrozen have the modern knowledge. And it's like, all right, I'm gonna build this. We're gonna have a steam engine. We're gonna make ramen. Like this kind of stuff. So there's
yeah,
like, so that's cool.
yeah, and to Amy's point, she definitely stirs up trouble. Like anytime she's around, there is a trouble abound, because like her inventions and everything that she comes up with, like messes with the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, like we're here, and now you're like taking away people's jobs because you just like invented this thing, or you know, having people learn how to read when they're not, you know, it's just like all these little things. But dude, it is so good. The second half of it really opens up the world. I'm not going to give anything away, but it definitely opens up the world to like what it can really be, which is super cool. And I hope more people will watch it, because I think it is something that a lot of people would enjoy, especially if you like isekai.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of like a cute isekai, and then it just goes, all right, people want to kidnap you and all of these things, and people want you dead, and it's like, okay.
0 to
So
100 real quick.
yeah, very, very much so. So, dude, I'm enjoying it. I hope more people will jump on it and enjoy it as well. But that is my last one that I want to chat about. But I know you got 86 you want to talk about.
Yes. So this one has been popped up like it's one of those, it's a mech anime, and it feels like it gets proper love from like the hardcore anime community people, but it feels like, I mean, it came out 2021, so it probably was talked about more then, but it feels like it doesn't get talked about like up with the upper echelon of like mecha anime, in my opinion. But this one starts off really, it's another classes system. It's like you have the rich nobles at the top, like the commanders who, they don't go out and fight, but they're commanding their armies from a computer module in a safe location. But there's like a realigning of 86 districts, or like there's 85 districts, and they're using these throwaway mechs that kind of look raggedy, put together, to fight this AI, like autonomous, like army, like robot army, that was when you find out it was created by a rivaling nation, and they became so sentient and smart that they took out the people of their own nation. It's like, y'all are obsolete, bye. And now they just want to like take out all of humanity. So they're like, this nation that they're in is trying to fight back. And in the beginning, Dan agrees. But what was that? Where was I going? Oh, but you see, like in the beginning, it's like, oh, there's no human casualties. But one of the officers who actually has like Vladilena, she's one of the main characters, who's like one of the army officials, and she's like a handler. She handles like the squadrons, and you hear voices like from her previous stint. From like they kind of like move people around, like how managers get moved around in retail. They kind of like move generals around depending on if they're performing well or not. And she, is handling, but she plays the humanitarianness of it like too much, and all the commanders are just like, they're not human, blah blah blah. And you find out there's this 86 district that aren't considered part of the main core. They're basically like, when you consider like the Jews and the Germans type thing. Like, it's like, oh, y'all are not part of us, y'all don't look like us, we're going to use you on the front lines, and we're saying no human casualties because we don't consider you human.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so they're the ones piloting these raggedy mechs. They get bare bones repairs. They don't really get the supplies they needed, and so she gets sent to this squadron, who you find out, I'm not going to really spoil the whole premise, but they get sent there for reasons. And basically, this is like the last line. Like, if you make it out of here, you're golden, because this is like where people don't really make it out of the squadron, like, or whole anyway. At least when the whole squad gets sent there, not all of them make it out. It's pretty much death row. And you find out one of the guys is called the Reaper, but he is actually the other main character, and he's almost like Hiro Yui from Gundam Wing. Like, okay. He is a boss. He's the only one, like, the way he moves and controls his mech, the way he knows how to fight the enemy is just like next tier. And you find out that there's reasons for how he knows where their enemy's going, how the enemy's moving, and there's stuff like say one of his squad mates are mortally wounded, he goes himself and shoots them, to finish them off. There's reasons for that you find out, and that's what I kind of want to touch on a lot. That is one of the highlights of this show, is just like the pacing of it. Is like
of him just going and killing his squad mates.
Well, not that, but the reason,
like, this is like the best part of the show.
Okay, all right. So who doesn't like a little death? But no,
exactly.
It's the reasons, like, oh, why is it this way? Like, why are they saying no human casualties? What are the motivations for doing this, that, and the other? And you find out, and like you get answers like within an episode or two, and it's just, some of it's heart wrenching. And so you find out like, and the reason why is like the AI enemy only has like this energy core that it's run off of that only lasts it's lasted for a couple hundred years, but or I forget the time length, but it lasts a long time. But now they're in the focal, like they're at the tail end. It's like, oh, maybe only about another 5-6 years, and the enemy will be depowered, and we won't have to fight this war anymore. And you find out, oh, there's other things going on, and this, and it's just like heart wrenching. It's like with some of the conversations that are had, and that's another thing too. When Vladilena gets to this squad, everyone, she's like their 6th or 7th handler that's been on that squad, or in their squad. And, they dog her. They're just like, oh, y'all don't really care about us. Like, because they've had people that are just, again, treat them like throwaways. She's the one who actually cares about them, wants to get to know them, wants to get to know their names, what they like, all that kind of stuff. And they're not used to this. So they kind of like are standoffish at first. And then once they realize she's sincere, like, yes, she's still an idiot and naive. Like, hey, this is
yeah,
like,
she's still dumb.
Well, because they know this is not how the world
truth
works. Like, right. Like, they know the truth. They realize she doesn't know the truth yet, or at least the whole truth. They realize, hey, this is how the world works. This is our reality. Like, we appreciate you doing this. And then they start to warm up to her. But it doesn't end well. And then the second part of the show is like where it deviates, and like stuff happens, like a big battle happens. And then like the second half, and then it's just like the emotional impact of it is so well done in this show. I can't recommend it enough. Like, if you like mech anime or just like good storytelling, because when people like on my FYP on TikTok, they would say, oh, if you're a fan of this, watch this. And it's like, oh, if you're a fan of Attack on Titan, watch 86. And I'm like, okay, that's a little brazen, because I love Attack on Titan, and I don't think it's on that same level, but it's right there with it in terms of storytelling.
Well, I guess I need to check out 86. You talking about it makes me excited about it. And Dan said, oh, 86, that's a good one. I still need to go back and finish the 2nd season.
So yeah, it's only 23 episodes in total.
Oh wow, that's super short.
Yeah, so
that's like one season of Frieren.
Yeah.
Guys, let us know what you've been watching. We're going to jump into our review of Apothecary Diaries. This is a show that we have been watching ourselves. And if you want to join our Fable group, we have a QR code on the screen if you're watching on TV. I also put it in the chat as well, so you can click that link and go to our Fable app and join there to the discussion and everything. But Apothecary Diaries Season 1. So we try to go, like, we'll have like an action show, and then we'll do like a more kind of like laid back, if you will.
Yeah, like maybe down the road we'll get into like sports. Like, maybe if Zach and I find something like sports or romance or something like that, we'll throw that in there too. But like, we do want to have like something that is not punchy all the time.
Yeah, we love our fighting animes, but we also enjoy other types. And Amy and I watched this before I got you to watch it, and dude, Apothecary Diaries is so freaking good. I was actually kind of surprised, and it's definitely this is not something a kid should be watching. I will just say that.
No, like, I mean, it doesn't do anything explicit, but it does have mature themes in there. I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe you shouldn't do this.
Yeah, like, so know that from the get-go. Like, this is more of like an adult. It's nothing bad, but there are some discussions and everything. But I wasn't expecting the feel of the show to be kind of like House MD, where he's like,
good point.
Like, you know, figuring out the mystery or whatever's going on, the illness and all of this, and the amount of storytelling that is done in this show, because it's not action heavy, but you definitely feel like this push to like know what's going to happen. Oh, I gotta watch the next episode. What's you know, but the way they set up the show, the way the characters interact with each other, I absolutely love. And I'm just like, I know I've talked about it on stream and everything, but Mao Mao is hilarious. Like, I like one of the main things that is on my For You page is like people doing like edits or whatever, and like Mao Mao just like decking people or like making fun, you know, like it's great. So Derek, let me know, what did you think about Apothecary Diaries season 1?
Kind of echoing what you said, I did not expect this show to be as good as it is. And like when it was nominated for Anime of the Year, I'm like, okay. And then when you recommended this for our show of the month, I was like, okay, that's perfect, because it, like, everyone, like when you see on Crunchyroll's page, when you go to the browse section, most popular, it's like Solo Leveling, Apothecary Diaries is number 2. And then it's like it was nominated for Anime of the Year, and people just keep mentioning it. And it's like it got a season 2 right now. Season 2 is almost done. Can't wait to watch season 2. And I was like, okay, I agree. Let's watch this. Like, I'm intrigued. I want to see what all the hype's about. And man, I'm not disappointed. Like Mao Mao. Let's just start there. Mao Mao and Jinshi, like the two, like the main characters. Jinshi being voiced by Gojo is great, by the way. And it just kind of brings, it's like a softer tone, like, because you're used to seeing him playing like eccentric characters, angry characters, but you don't see him just playing like he's got that little bit of like Gojo, that little bit of like playfulness in him, but he's really just kind of like serious and like concerned. I'm like, you don't really see, I'm glad he's playing a different type of character. But Mao Mao, I said it from the jump, like the first, what was it, the first episode or 2 where she's fawning over herbs and weeds and like all this. I'm like, oh man, this is a Frieren when she's like seeing magic or grimoires, like just her going crazy. And then later on in the show, when when she's at the rival house or like the rival temple or whatever, like for one of the concubines, and then like her ladies in waiting just keep kicking around. She's like bounce, bounce, and like the faces she makes, I'm like, this kind of reminds me of Anya. Yeah. So Anya, for like
where she like turns into a cat is hilarious.
Yes. So like those two, because you know I've stated here on previous episodes, like I love how Frieren's character is and portrayed. I loved Anya in Spy Family. So seeing those two wrapped up in one character just hits so many right notes with me that like you said, like the way they set it up. And like she has like her own character development is so sad and great at the same time. We'll get into it here in a minute, but just seeing like how she ends up there, like her father says from us, like, be careful, there's been a lot of kidnappings, and then literally 5 minutes later she gets kidnapped and sent to the palace.
It was almost slapstick comical, right? It's like, be careful, there's been kidnappings, and then it's like
oh, and then she, like, her realization's like, well, can't do anything about this. But like you said, like the way like she is, so because her dad was an apothecary. And she just basically became obsessed with it, like wanted to be all in the know, like for reasons that you see. And, you know, like the way she like just tested stuff on her arm, which I have my own theory about that because of how the end of season 1, but we'll discuss that later. But just seeing like how she like her obsession with poison is like, oh, I like, especially when it comes to pufferfish, I'm just like a little weird, but you know, everyone's got to have their own quirk. But and just seeing how she uses that medical knowledge to help people. And like in the beginning, it's like realizing it's like, oh, why do these babies keep dying for all the different concubines? And it's like, oh, the makeup powder that you use to make these concubines look gorgeous is actually poison for the baby. Take them off. And then when she scolds one of the ladies in waiting, it's like, like while the concubine is like Sith, like pretty much like almost on her deathbed. And like she's like, I just want her to make pretty. And she's like, you're a freaking idiot. You're killing her and doing more harm than good. Get out of here.
Dude, that is one of my favorite scenes, is where she just cold cocks that lady.
Dude, when she did, I was like, all right, this is Frieren when she sees a demon. Like, just does a 180 immediately.
Like, but it's just so good the way they wrote everything, and how, like, yes, she does, like, is part of Lady Gyokyo's like Jade Pavilion and everything, but I think it's the Crystal Pavilion.
Yeah.
Lady Liwa is
the Jade Pavilion.
No, sorry. Yeah, Virtuous Consort. That's right. No, hold on. There's so many names here.
I know.
Okay. Yeah, Liwa. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Liwa is the one that she saves and everything. But like, she even gave it was like at the very beginning, she's like trying to save both of these babies, like you were talking about, and it's like someone like the head lady over at the Crystal Pavilion threw the note away.
Yeah.
And it's like, you were the reason why the baby died.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, it is so good. The mysteries, like, we get like different things going on, and she's like having to figure out these mysteries. Is just
like the dancing ghost.
Yeah, the dancing ghost. The dude that was like drinking and like died, like, you know.
The brothers like they had get all these different things like left in their will, and like how that gets like, I think that was one of my favorite like mini side missions in the show, was like, oh, they can't get along because the dad always favored the younger one. And it's like, no, you all have your strengths. And then each one of those had, just like they all had to come together to play different parts of a business, just like their last will and like their final gifts all played a part in finding out what was in the chest. I was like, man, this is so flipping good.
Yeah, and how that plays into the main story as well with that ceremony. Guys, you need to go watch this. If like, I don't want to ruin everything on here. I just want to hit some of the comments. Dan says, I like the scene where she's taste testing at a ceremony, and she tells everyone with a look of absolute grace and dignity that says this dish is poison.
I know, because she literally right before it's like, I hope I get puffer fish or whatever. And she's like, it's poison. Like, just so like it's like, it's okay.
Where she's like, this is poison or whatever. Like, so many times I've seen on TikTok that girl is poison, like with like Apothecary Diary edits and everything. But I do want to hit something. I don't know if you know this, Derek, but the writer of the manga, and Dan has been reading the manga as well, the writer actually hates Jinchi.
Really?
Yeah. Like, he was only supposed to be in like the manga like a few chapters, and then everybody fell in love with him, even her aunt. And that's where like the pushing Mao and him together and everything.
Yeah.
She's like, he is the hardest person to write because I hate him so much.
Wow, that's crazy. But hey, that's sometimes you got to have inspiration to create some great things.
Exactly. Yeah. She despises having to write. I thought that was just hilarious because everybody's like, oh, Jinchi. The romance is weird sometimes.
It is, and even I think that's a little tongue in cheek. Like, now knowing that now, I think the writer does that intentionally because everyone like I want to talk about Jinchi for just a minute too. Like, everyone fawns over him, like he's the pretty, like, because they're pretty much the only men allowed to be in the palace with the concubines, and the ladies in waitings are people who are eunuchs. And like he's such a pretty boy, like he could be a woman. It's like like everyone fawns over him, and Mao's just like creeped out by him for whatever reason. So I feel like that's tongue in cheek by the writer. But his story is so interesting because you're like, all right, why is he the favorite, all that? And then Mao Mao shoots some theories out there, like for one of the episodes with Lady Liwa, and like when they find out about the other some of the other two concubines, and then you find out, oh, he's like one of the strategists, like, oh, I know your true identity, or it's like, oh, and like this is not a becoming of a eunuch, or like this is only for like people of higher status. And I'm like, okay, there's a mystery around him. And then you find out, like, well, I don't think we fully found out, but then you find out, like, oh, not really who he says he is. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes, but now why? Why?
Yeah.
I need to know. I need to know the why now.
We get a little bit more of that in season 2. I'll tell you that.
Okay, good. I can't wait to watch it. But like, they don't, obviously, to me in season 1, I don't feel like how, what was it in Dandadan's, I think a good example, like, there was Momo and Okaroon. Like Okaroon started falling for Momo, but I think it wasn't until the end of season 1 that Momo maybe's like starting to get feelings, or there may start to be feelings there with, for Momo as well. Mao Mao has no feelings, I feel like, for Jinshi, but Jinshi, I think, is like wanting, for whatever reason, he is obsessed with trying to be a part of Mao Mao's world. Like, maybe not romantically, but he is obsessed with wanting, because she doesn't fawn over him like everyone else does. It's like he wants to find out why, and he's like kind of shoehorning himself into Mao Mao's life. But I do think that toward the end of season 1, they do become great allies. Like, I think they're starting to realize, like, hey, your intentions are good, I have good intentions. Like, yeah, we may have a little bit of weird character quirks, but we can actually come together and do some good things for the palace, and like, and like, you're obviously a great asset. I have the power to make things happen here. So let's at least tolerate each other. But I'll let you respond, but I want to go back to Mao Mao here in a minute.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is because what Dan said, the whole reason why he likes her is because she doesn't, fawn over him. She actually thinks he's disgusting. But I do want to kind of point this out. I've heard people talk about this, like like all of this is from Mao Mao's perspective and everything. She's an unreliable narrator. Like, when it comes to like everything else but Jinshi, she's very just like,
oh, so what they're saying is she's fair, straightforward, like middle of the road. With Jinshi, she's opinionated. She's like, nope, don't care for him.
Well, it's like I think she doesn't understand how to quantify like her emotions and everything. So I think that's where it's like she's never really had that. All she's been exposed to is her dad, that is a eunuch himself, or the place that she worked at and everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's what she's, it's a transactional thing, but it's like I feel like she's an unreliable narrator where she's telling us one thing, but she's feeling a different thing.
Okay, that's intriguing.
And maybe not at the very beginning, but as it goes on, like her repulsion seems to kind of explode sometimes.
Right.
But one of my favorite relationships she has, there's two. Lady Gyokyo. I love how Mao Mao and her interact. It's like her older sister, and she's like really helping her out. And then, of course,
that's also comes from her previous line of work as well.
Exactly. And then the eunuch, what was his name?
Isn't it with Jinshi, like his like second right-hand man?
Yeah. Gauch. Like where he's like he calls her something, I can't remember what it was, but he's always like supporting and like trying to get Mao Mao to like, hey, please don't do this because you're going to offend like Master Jinshi. It's but he's like this fatherly figure and everything. Right. And I really like Gauchwin. I think he's one of the best characters in the first season. Him and Lady Gyokyo, side characters for sure.
So for sure, like I forgot his name as well, but Gauchwin, like, yes, definitely, I think is a great support character, especially like being a mediary between, like you said, Jinshi and Mao Mao. Is like, all right, guys, quit bickering and just work together, please, or just try and tolerate each other. Mao Mao, man, let me tell you, like, yes, like we talked about, like how like her boisterousness or like love of herbs and finding ways and poison and all this kind of stuff. Her backstory is so sad too, like her upbringing because of where she lived, what she had to do. Like it was the episode early on where like she has to get dolled up for like the first like little festival they had,
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. And then it's like you find out about the freckles. And
Yeah.
and I was like I was like, man, I'm like, okay, this is weird. Why does she do it this way? And then she explains it, and it just goes sad real quick. And then like
Yeah.
reality hits because that's how stuff has to. That there are places in the real world you have to do that, and I'm just like, oh, that hurts. Like, oh, now I'm starting to feel for you, man. Oh man, why'd you have to do that? And then you find out like, and then like toward the end of the season, her revelations about like how the strategist is involved, and then there's a secret, not concubine, but secret courtesan
Yep.
at this place. I have a former line of work, and I'm like, oh, and that whole story, like over those couple episodes, is just like heart wrenching. It's like, oh, like especially when you have the realization that the tactician really kind of wasn't at fault, but is
Yeah.
still at fault to some extent. It's like, man, that Mao Mao had it rough, and like now you see why she spent so much time at this place, why she does so many poisons. I do think that because of that cortisone, I think that like because she keeps her arm bandaged. I know it's not to raise questions, but I also think it plays into what happened with the cortisone to an extent. But that's just a random theory. I don't think it probably does. Um, and that's why she's so obsessed. We'll talk about it after the show.
Okay.
We'll talk about it after the show because I don't want to spoil it here.
Yeah.
But her story is very sad, I will say.
Yeah, like she's the Verdigris house is
Yeah.
that's the name of it. I couldn't remember, I had to look it up. But like Lacan, the strategist, like that last arc in season 1
Yes.
is like you're just like, God, I hate this dude. And then anime does what anime does, and it animes up and down all over this anime. If y'all know what we're talking about, like it twists, things around.
It flips things on their head.
And it's just so good. Yeah, and I agree with Dan. It's like so many people have sad backstories. Lacan, like you learn more about him and everything, and then Mao Mao has her own backstory. And then like everybody, I feel like has something. Even the madam of the Verdigris house, like her story and everything, which we get a little bit more of that in season 2. But dude, like the way Apothecary Diaries, it's dense as well. Like it's, I feel like
it's not just it's not just solving medical mystery of the week. It is like you said, dense. It adds more to it.
Yeah, and we're watching season 2, and they're bringing up stuff from season 1 that happened early on, and like dots are being connected and all of this kind of stuff. And it's like, oh man, I think I totally missed that or whatever. It's like it's just a tapestry, if you will, of what they're able to do storytelling wise with this show. And of course it is a manga, but dude, it is so good, and I think more people need to go and watch this. I know it was nominated for Anime of the Year and everything, but yeah, it's so good. Amy says anime always makes you hate a character and then feel bad for them, and it's infuriating in times.
Yeah, fair.
Amy, I feel like I should take notes sometimes. Well, and it's like, okay, you have a very large cast of characters. Her friend, and then the 4 concubines from the different pavilions and everything, and then you have Genshi and Gaoshun. You've got so many, and then everybody at the Verdigris house. Like there's so much that is in the show that like it's not one of the animes you can just kind of watch with one eye and then just kind of scroll on your phone. Like it's something you need to pay attention to, which I'm glad we picked this one for our show this month. Derek, is there anything else you wanted to add to Apothecary Diary season 1 review?
No, just I can't wait to watch season 2 because of the little hints you've given me. It makes me we're getting more intrigue, more revelations. So I can't wait to watch this.
Yeah, I think the last episode just came out.
It's doing a 24 episode. It's on episode 47, so 48 will be this week. Will be its finale.
Okay, so once all the dub comes out, well, I'll have my opinions on the full season 2. But it's so good, you need to go watch it if you haven't already watched it. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. But let's move to one of my favorite parts of the show, and that is the Kage Summit. And today we're talking about the 2025 Anime of the Year award that Crunchyroll put out. And to be exactly clear, this was a stacked anime of the year.
Now this is from the 2024 season, by the way. Even it's weird. They're doing it middle of the year, but they're doing it from the previous, which makes sense, but it's also why wait till the end of the year?
Yeah, it's kind of, I guess I should change that. Should that be 2025 or 2024?
Well, no, they call it because they have the award show in 2025, but it's for the 2024 anime season.
Okay, cool. So it's like video games, like EA, football 25. It's the year
right
ahead of time and everything. Okay,
right. Well, and it's like the Dice Awards. This happens in March, and they call it the 2025 Dice Awards, but it's for the 2024 game releases.
Yeah. So we had on this list, and we're specifically going to talk about 2 of these, and if we thought one should have won over the other, and our thoughts on that. But we had Solo Leveling, we had Frieren, we had Dan, we had Apothecary Diaries. I feel like there was one more that was in there.
Kaiju number 8, I think, was up there too.
Yeah. Anime of the Year 2025. Okay. Anime of the Year, Dan, Delicious in Dungeon. Kaiju number 8, Frieren, and Apothecary Diaries, Dan, Solo Leveling. So I've actually watched all of these.
All but one for me.
Yeah, and the thing that we want to pose for everybody is, should Solo Leveling have won Anime of the Year over Frieren?
Because people have their opinions. We've loved both shows. We've had our reviews of both shows, at least season 1 of each of these shows. And you can make a case. You can make a case for either of them. The age-old arguments, like you can make a case for both of them. But go ahead, Zach.
And this is season 1 of Solo Leveling.
Yeah. So season 2 is not, it's going to be part of next year's awards.
Yeah. So I think that's important to kind of put here. And I think this really comes down to popularity versus really good storytelling. And
correct.
I'm literally wearing a Solo Leveling shirt right now. We got Egress right here. I love Solo Leveling. But I also freaking love Frieren.
Right, exactly. So it's like your 2 favorite toys, like arguing over your favorite pets. It's like, all right, which one do I pick? Like at the end of the day. So let me make a case for both of them.
Okay.
Right. So with Frieren, I feel like it could have won because, like we said, the character development, just the different storytelling, like how it wasn't as action heavy. Like it had when the action was there, it had great action moments, but it wasn't. It was in small doses spread throughout the entirety of a 28 episode season. And I feel like, again, like with Frieren's development, like just the telling of it's almost like watching an MMORPG played out in like a slideshow storytelling book. And just, again, the character interactions, like the time lapse, like just seeing like how like a couple years, like they're not telling it like every day of their journey. It's like, all right, let's skip to like a couple years where it's something like is going to be worth telling about. But just all of that, and like the characters, like just not just the storytelling, but just like the characters' emotions and the interactions too. Like the whole cast was just fantastical in Frieren, and it was something, again, new. It was just something different, and I feel like just based on the story alone, it could have won Anime of the Year. However, let's go to the flip side in Solo Leveling. of course, it had its action, it had its great moments, it had its, and I feel like I don't feel like while the whole, at least in season one, the whole cast was properly, given all their times, was more focused on Genu. Genu was great, like especially those first couple episodes, like where he's sitting there on death's door, and all of a sudden he gets revived, and like just his not redemption arc, but just his journey to becoming stronger, and like getting a second chance at life was great. The action is fantastic. The music was great. I think what set it up, I think what ultimately sets this apart is because it was the first manhwa to be put in an anime form, and it hit with people. It resonated with people. It did gangbusters. Like it was pretty much the talk of the town. Like when, again, I can't tell you, like episode 6 where like that haunting eerie music when he's like taking out the bandit gang, like how many times I came over my For You page, for that week that episode came out. Like it was just one of those global phenomenons that just took the world by storm if you were an anime fan. So I think because it went to a different genre, or went to a different realm than just your typical manga, and it was like the first great one to, because now, because of its success, they're bringing over more manhwa, turning it into anime as well. And I think because it's starting like not a revolution, but just like opening up a whole new genre of things to animate. That way we don't run out of ideas, and like, it's not just repeats, and to kind of bridge the gap in between waiting for your favorite season of a manga or whatnot. I think because of that, I think that's because, like I said, the popularity of it and the differentiating factors of it, I think that's why it won. And yeah, it probably deserved to win, but again, I think it had more to do with the global impact than it did anything else.
Yeah, I like, again, to Dan's point, which child do you love more?
Right.
That's how I kind of feel about this. Looking at season 1 of Solo Leveling, and again, I love Solo Leveling. I literally play it every day on my phone.
This man went and got the manhwa books, like just to read it, just so he knew what's happening ahead of time before, because he couldn't wait till season 2, and he's like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and read.
I literally read one yesterday, the newest one. So that being said, I do think Solo Leveling is deservedly like on the list of anime of the year, but season 1 compared to season 1 of Frieren, I like, if it was season 2 of Solo Leveling, I might see a little bit more of a point. Like, yes, it is good. Season 1 is great, but the journey that I feel like is incomplete in season 1 compared to what we get out of season 1 of Frieren, where we actually do get a pretty good like chapter break, if you will, at the end of season 1 of Frieren. It was also a very different kind of show. It felt like Delicious in Dungeon in a way, but also had like this stake kind of game to it that I absolutely loved. But the art style, the music, the pacing, which was very different than most of the animes that I've watched. I normally watch just, fighting anime. That's why I love Solo Leveling, is because like it's so good. But just watching Frieren and going through it, I was like, man, this is just done so well. And the character development, not just the characters that are with Frieren in this moment, but seeing the original cast, the original adventurers with Frieren, how they helped develop her master and everything, like seeing all of these different things throughout season 1. There was so much explored, and then you see like the choices that she's made in the past has also caught up with her at the end of season 1 and everything. But what was cool, it was like the very first half of season 1 of Frieren was kind of slow. She would take her time on things, and she's like, hey, I'm going to stay here for 10 years. And it's like, Fern's like, no, we can't. We got to get moving. And then you have when she fought that demon. Like outside of that town and
like
everything.
Where she just went by herself is like,
it was amazing. And again, like I loved when Genu like fought the snake in the subway station and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was really cool. And then seeing like the God statue and everything, like that was such an intense and like, oh my God, opening to a show.
Yes.
I don't know, dude. It just makes me, I'm happy that we've got like this list right here for
I'm about
anime
to
of the
say
year.
it's
It's crazy.
Like, no matter which one would have won, you could have been like, okay, I see why.
Yeah, like if it would have been Dan, I would have been pretty happy too. I probably would still have this conversation of why I think either Solo Leveling or Frieren should have been
right.
Dan, but Dan was amazing. Delicious in Dungeon, another really cool take on anime and the whole dungeon crawler thing where you're, they're eating the monsters and everything, and the comedy of it is just amazing. It's like you can do all of it. And then Kaiju number 8.
Yeah, the action and like whew.
Which we're getting at this coming up month. I'm really excited for. But to have this kind of list for anime of the year just tells me how healthy the industry is.
Correct.
And as much as I want Frieren to win, I'm also glad that Solo Leveling won. But I just want to know what other people's thoughts are on this. Like, which one would you have picked? Would you have picked Solo Leveling? Would you pick, Frieren or any of the other ones? Because all of them are heavy hitters in my book.
Correct. So yeah, you could have probably went with anyone on that list that would have won, and I would not have been mad about it. Like, yeah, we could have, again, like you said, had discussions about why this should have won over this, but nah, like we wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been like one of those years like in video games we see time and time again. It's like, why did this win?
Yeah. I do real quick want to, like, Demon Slayer Hashira Training Art won best continuing anime or best continuing series.
Yeah,
I do not agree with that at all.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Especially when My Hero Academia season 7 was on the list.
Yeah, no,
I'm like, not around here, partner. I'm sorry. Like, I love Demon Slayer, but dude, season 7 of My Hero Academia was so freaking good.
Yes, it was.
The Hashira arc didn't really do anything until literally the last episode.
Correct.
So neither here nor there, everybody.
Right.
Neither here nor there. But there's our thoughts on the 2025 anime of the year. Let us know yours down in the comments below.
But just to say that Frieren did win its fair share of anime awards. Like, the best thing was the director won best director of the year. I was like, as he should.
Yeah, best director.
As they should.
Yeah, Keiichiro Setio. Best background art. Frieren won as well. I love that Mashal won best comedy.
Oh yeah, Mashley. Yeah.
I'm trying to see. Frieren also, they won best drama.
Yep.
Best main character. I don't think Genu is the best main character.
We'll see. I'm about to say, they did win best supporting. Fern won best supporting character.
I do like that. Must protect at all costs. Anya, which of course, yes.
I said that when we reviewed Spy Family. I was like, she is to be protected at all costs.
I'm glad they don't have, like, me and Amy tried to watch Buddy Daddies. That kid on that show, oh my God. Oh,
annoying.
Yes, super annoying. She is not Anya by any stretch of the imagination. Derek, let's talk about the upcoming anime for summer.
Yeah.
What's going on? I know Dan kind of put a little bit something in there earlier on in the show that we're getting Kaiju number 8.
Yeah.
But so let's hit it.
The summer 2025 lineup is looking to be another like spring was good if you liked a lot of this stuff. Like, the highlight was for us, My Hero Academia Vigilantes, but summer, at least for me, especially for me, is stacked, brother. So first up, like, the highlights, some of this is a much anticipated manga that is finally getting an anime adaptation is Gachi Akuta, which is airing on July 6th. As Dan stated, Kaiju number 8 season 2 finally is here after waiting over a year for it. Season 1 will be we have to wait a little bit longer. It is July 19th, but I cannot wait to get back into that world. But something that we will get this week, this upcoming Thursday, Dan to Dance season 2 finally comes back. And I know, Zach, after I dropped that bombshell on you that episode 12 was like the last one and it ended on all these cliffhangers, you're like, what? Like, I can't wait till July. Well, guess what, brother? We only have a few days left before you can get your answers. And then we have My Dress Up Darling season 2, which is on July 5th. That's been like season 1 really took the world by storm in that one. I know a lot of people have been waiting for season 2. Well, you finally get it here in just roughly a week. Something I'm excited for, Dr. Stone's the final season part 2 is airing on July 10th. I'm about to rewatch part 1 just so I am, just reminding of what all happened to see what continues it. I'm really excited for this final season of Dr. Stone. Toilet Bound Hanako-kun season 2 is also on July 6th. I know they had that spin-off one last year or earlier this year. So the proper season 2 is airing. Some other notable ones to keep in mind of, A Couple of Cuckoos season 2 is on July 8th. Arknight's Rise from Ember is July 4th. Grand Blue Dreaming season 2 is on July 7th. I Was Reincarnated as a Seventh Prince So I Can Take My Time Perfecting My Magical Abilities season 2 is on July 9th. I really am sorry to getting these isekais with super long mouthful of openings, but I digress. Something that aired, I'm kind of intrigued by, just, it already started airing. It's airing every Friday, but Lord of Mysteries is a newer anime. I'm intrigued to see how that is when it shapes up, when a little bit more comes out. Reborn is a vending machine. I Now Wonder the Dungeon season 2. I didn't think season 1 was that good enough from what I read to get a season 2, but I'm glad that for the fans of this show, they are getting another season. Rent a Girlfriend season 4 is on July 1st. What else? Oh, something, because I just finished rewatching season 3 today. Rising of the Shield Hero season 4 is on July 9th. I'm excited to see where this story goes because I forgot about the cliffhanger premise they set up at the finale that I rewatched this morning. Then I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a thing. I can't wait to see how they're going to handle this for the next one. Something just the title of it made me intrigued. It's another new anime called The Water Magician, which is going to be an isekai. The main character is reincarnated into a legendary magician, but it took 20 years inside a monster-infested wilderness to basically get to be that great magician. So I'm going to keep my eye on that one, see how that does. Again, anime, I've talked about it before. Anime will make me watch stuff that I would never watch, like in real-life TV shows. One called Turkey Time to Strike is on July 8th. It is a bowling anime. What else but anime would get you to be intrigued by something with bowling? To be fair. Now, some continuing stuff. Of course, the staples, Case Closed, One Piece are still going on. Summer Pockets is continuing on, which is very much a great romance anime from what I've been hearing. To Be Hero X, which I've heard is done very well this spring season, is continuing into the summer as well. So yeah, Zach, Dan to Dan this week, Kaiju number 8 in a couple weeks. And then, of course, for me, Rising the Shield Hero and Dr. Stone are going to be the next week after Dan to Dan. Thursdays are going to be cool because I'm doing something different. I told you about this the other night, Zach. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do something different just because of us getting so much involved in anime. We're doing the show and just for our enjoyable pleasure of anime, that it's been putting my backlog even further up because, it's like, all right, we have anime of the month. And then like those new stuff that we watched previously is getting a new season, or just like stuff that we've watched prior is getting new seasons. So it just makes it hard to keep it up with. So I'm rewatching. I finished rewatching Dan to Dan season 1, and man, I cannot wait. The way it ended, like that, the weirdness of it. I was just like, okay, how are they gonna keep up with this? How are they gonna continue this? I rewatched that. I just finished rewatching Shield Hero season 3. I'm going to rewatch part 1 of Dr. Stone, and then I'm going to rewatch Kaiju number 8. But I'm going, and Vigilantes was sort of like the litmus test, and essentially where it came out simuldub, didn't know it was coming up simuldub, and I really enjoyed the week to week of it, like not being spoiled on anything, especially like that Matt Curtin, that guy who does like the My Hero and Demon Slayer impressions that I send you all the time. He started incorporating stuff from Vigilantes in there, and I'm like, I'm glad I watched this because otherwise I wouldn't have known what was going on. So just because of that, I'm going to start watching stuff as it comes out. Of course, I'm going to be waiting for when the English dub happens. Now, we will kind of spoiling things. I don't know if Zach was going to have a whole song and dance about this, but we will, as part of our summer reactions, like we've been doing first impressions this year. We're going to be reacting to the first episode of Dan 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 and Kaiju number 8 season 2s when they air. Like, it won't be the same day, but we'll react to them within the first week of them airing, whether that's in English or Japanese. But I will watch week to week when it is English dub, so that way I'll be in the know. And when something crazy happens, Zach won't have to bite his tongue to hold us. I can't wait for you to watch this. And like he waits 3 months to watch all the craziness that he watched, in season. So I will be doing this anime viewing just to help take the pressure off of, okay, now this is all dubbed. Now let me shoehorn this in to watch the whole season.
Yeah, there's no telling how many times, like with Dan to Dan and Solo Leveling, like that I'm just like, I want to talk to you about this, but you haven't watched it. And
yeah,
Dragon Ball Daima was the same way. So yeah. I'm glad you're going to try this out, watching week to week. And I'm excited. The summer lineup, another great lineup. Especially like Dan, he loves him some isekai. So
yeah,
he's going to be able to eat good on this one. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that. We've got a lot of cool stuff that is going to be coming up. One thing, I'm going to switch back over here, not about Apothecary Diaries, but we're going to be doing a new show, and it is what was the name of it?
The Osan Newbie Adventurer.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing that. Go ahead and scan the code, the QR code, and join our Fable group. We're going to be doing that for our July anime, the Osan Newbie Adventurers. It's going to be great. Me and Derek watched the trailer after Nerd Cave News last week, and I was like, okay, I'm down for this. Yeah. So come and be a part of that. Come and discuss it. It's going to be a great time. And we've got ramen toppings and then 2 trailers that we're going to watch. But let's jump into ramen toppings. And I want everybody's opinion on this as well, because we know that shonen fighting anime is pretty much the number one anime genre.
Right. It's not debatable. Like, if you see some of the most viewed, most popular animes, it's always, with the exception of Solo Leveling now, it's always like Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero, Demon Slayer. Like, it's like, and what are they all? Shonen. So don't miss you with your, actually, it's, in my opinion, it's not, no, it's the facts are louder than facts don't care about your feelings.
Well, and you look at it, like Solo Leveling crushed all of these like watch stats through season 2. So that does speak a lot about, like what a fighting anime is. But the question that we have for ramen toppings is, what is the second most popular anime genre? Right. So Derek, give me give the list of for everybody, like the different kind of genres that we have for anime.
Of course, you have your isekai, you have your romance, you have your sports, you have your dramas, your thrillers, your action adventures, some of your typical like movie or TV show genres, but and there's slice of life as well. And then there's horror anime as well, like the dark and brooding stuff that you only see in a few of your shonen, like Attack on Titan. But yeah, so like there's your typical, but slice of life is different just because it's like your day to day, like maybe some weird things happen, but it's like, I'm just going to live out my life as a high school or middle schooler that goes to a coffee shop or goes to, is a violinist or stuff like that. So there is stuff like that.
Comedy as well. I feel like
yes. Excuse me.
Derek's choking here, but yeah, we've got comedy, but they normally put like comedy with like some sort of action, like Mashley,
yes.
Yeah, Mashley, Spy Family, Buddy Daddies. There's like a comedy element to all of that. So what do you think? What do you think? I think it's isekai because I feel like I'm hearing more and more about isekai. I feel like that is something that is like more and more out there.
And you see, once the first couple isekai, like Reincarnated as a Slime, Sword Art Online,
Overlord,
Arifueta, Shield Hero, all these ones came out, and then all of a sudden now you see like they start saturating the market. Like we named off a couple of anime that I'm intrigued by, but several of them like on this summer list are isekai anime. So, and some of them are good, but then some of them are just like
yeah.
I've watched some isekai anime where I'm just like, okay, this is it. It doesn't need it. It does the thing that it needed to do, but it's not going to catch the world by storm. But then there's like some, I know you're not a fan of it, but I really like Reincarnated as a Slime, especially season 2 specifically. Like it just does so many things differently, and it just like, it does, like you said, it blends the comedy with the action, and then like the seriousness. There are stakes, but I think with a lot of isekai anime, especially from like the mid 2015, like from 2015 to 2020, they do it to where the character is so overpowered that the threats are never really threats. Like, yeah, they may trip them up for a minute, but then it's like, all right, now I just unlocked a new skill to counteract this, so now you're dead. So I think that's where a lot of people get turned off by isekai, is just the fact of they get very generic at times, or like it gets too like the main character so OP that it doesn't add that thriller, it doesn't add that like suspense to it as well. But I would say a third, something that would come up behind it, like a lot of people, like if you see like some of the top ones for the genre, it would be romance, because people love to, like the way the anime does romance. Like I've only watched a few, I need to branch out and watch some more, but like that Your Lie in April, like it was such heart-wrenching, made me feel so many different emotions, because it doesn't cover just romance, it covers other walks of life as well, and it just happens to be told in the fact of in a vacuum of, hey, there's this, these two people that have start to develop feelings for each other, or like one had them, the other one didn't realize it until the end, or like halfway through the show, that they care about him. Yeah. So I think romance would be sneaking up on it. I think isekai still has a monumental gap between that two, but I think romance would be the one to like kind of take it out, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like why I'm leaning more isekai than romance is because I feel like the shonen crowd would watch a isekai over watching a romance.
Oh, for sure, because I mean it has that action, punchy.
Yeah. I will say, like, one of my favorite isekais is Overlord.
Yes.
And I love that he's overpowered. Like, I love Ein Zal Ghul, I just love, I love that. And like the people around him, like it's just done really, really well. And I enjoy that. For some odd reason, I just couldn't get into slime,
Yeah.
Maybe one of these days I'll try season 2. I tried it, but it was filler episodes, and I was like, "What in the world's going on here, Derek?"
I would say give Shield Hero a shot too.
I wanted to watch it, because like after I watched season 1 of Solo Leveling, is like I need more, and then I was asked you about like Shield here, and you're like, "Yeah, it's not really the same thing."
Yeah, no, it's the same. It has some similarities, but it's not. It won't be the same thing that you expect it to be.
Yeah, so I think isekai is definitely like solid number 2. And then you got the other ones under that. There's definitely a subsect of like just the zany animes and all of that, which, man, we tried one, and it was freaking weird.
Oh, you're talking about the one with the dog?
Yeah, the dog, and like, dude, I not even Shao Tucker would want to mess with that dog. Oh, well, that is Ramen Toppings. We have 2 trailers that we're going to watch. Demon Slayer and My Hero Academia put out trailers this week, and perfect timing for us. So just to let everybody know, you're not going to hear any music. You'll hear a few dialogue lines in each of these, just so everybody knows what's going on. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the Demon Slayer Infinity Arc
Infinity Castle. Infinity Castle.
We're going to jump into the Infinity Castle trailer, see what it's all about. And the eye. September 12th is when it's going to come out. And like, dude, from the end of the Hashira arc and getting into this, like them falling into the Infinity Castle and everything, dude, I'm so stoked to see where this goes.
Yep.
Give me a crazy prediction. Who do you think is going to not make it?
One of the brothers is not going to make it. Either Genya or Sanemi is not going to make it. Both of them can't make it out alive. One of them, I also think because there's hinted at that, even though she's not really into it, but he is. But the snake guy Obanai and Mitsuri, I think one of them's not going to make it, and it's going to be like before he can confess to her that he loves her or whatever. So I think one of them is not going to make it out either. And honestly, if I'm just thinking about it a whole bold perspectively, like just out there, I don't know who. I think most of the Hashira won't make it out. I think we will see out of the 8 that are left, because we know Tengen didn't get in there. Or 7. Yeah, 7 that went in there because there were 9. Rest in peace, Rengoku. Tengen's retired. Out of the 7, I think at least 4 of them will not make it out.
Okay.
Probably more, but
yeah. I'm wondering if Tanjiro is going to make it.
He has to.
I know he's the main character, but
I don't know.
I doubt that. Like, he does have pretty good plot armor, you know what I mean? But I feel like somebody close has to die. Is it Zenitsu? Is it Inosuke? Is it Nezuko?
Oh God, please no. Zenitsu would literally burn the entire world down if that happened.
Well, and it's like you think about the arc before the Hashira, like when the sun comes up and everything. Well, I thought we were going to lose Nezuko the last time.
Yeah, they toyed with us.
Yeah, so this might be something where we actually lose. Like, I think this dude, I can't remember his name.
Giyu?
Yeah, he gonna die. She might die.
I don't think Tokido's making it out either.
I think he stays.
Really?
He's not gonna make it.
No.
He's not gonna make it.
I agree. I don't think Shinobu makes it either.
No, I don't think so. I think he dies.
I'd be more inclined to think Genya, but I could see Sanemi not making it either.
Yeah. Because like they don't even show Inosuke in any of this. Yeah, I think she dies.
Well, you gotta remember this is a 3-part. So this one will probably be the introduction, and then the second. I think the second one is I don't think we'll see. I think they're gonna leave on a cliffhanger. One of them, will they or won't they survive in one of their fights? And then the second one will be where people start getting murked left and right. Like we'll probably open up with 1 or 2 people in the second movie getting murked.
Maybe we end with one of them getting murked.
Maybe.
But yeah,
Zenitsu did like there's just that shot. He's just like, shut up and fight.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Dan says I read the manga and it was so good. I put the D on that one. So go. So goo. You definitely. I'm down to go watch this in theaters. So y'all, we'll figure out something on that. Howdy, Nate. All right. Anything else on Demon Slayer you want to communicate?
Nope. Can't wait. September 12th, just around the corner.
I love that the narrator is the dude that taught Tanjiro.
Yes.
It's pretty dope. All right.
Kodaki.
Yep. Oh, red face dude. All right. Next is My Hero Academia, and here we go. This one is in Japanese, so you're definitely going to need to watch the subtitles.
Yeah.
Let's back her up. Beep, boop, boop, boop.
風が強く吹き荒れていた。人は明滅するのだ。私の灯火が消えようとも。
That's gonna be so
無様
hard
だ
to
な。
watch.
オールマイト。笑顔をなくし、希望をなくし、地べたを這いず
Oh,
って。
that looks dope.
気
がしないぜ、オールフォー
Oh,
オー
oh.
ルマイト助けなきゃ緑谷いずく
みんな
が見てるぞ平和の象徴が無力の象徴に落ち耐えるさの世界に夢を見せた男の死で夢は現実に帰るんだこのまま消えろ喜びが痛みを凌駕しているうちに
Oh, we're going into high gear.
Yep.
意志を
Oh man.
希望を
When
Dude,
did it say? When did it said? Did it just say October, or did it give a date?
hold on.
It'd be near the end.
Everything's backwards because we have to be careful.
Yeah.
Something 10.
Yeah, just October, and it's the 5:30 is the time.
Yeah. I don't know.
Mm.
Dude, thoughts?
Oh, it's gonna hit. Like, I know that was probably like more toward the beginning because they don't want to give too much away. You know,
Yeah.
later in the season, but just that stuff, but just between Midoriya and Shigaraki and All Might and All for One, like, oh, it's gonna be so emotional. Like, it's gonna start out like because the way it ended was just like, again, it was like don to don. It's like, don't give me more. Don't end like this.
Yeah.
I can't wait. And this one's a little bit more of a wait. Obviously, it's the fall lineup, but I still cannot wait to see how this all comes to a head.
Dude, it's going to be absolutely crazy. And I'm very scared for All Might.
Yes.
You know, I feel like we are going to lose him.
I do too. Like, there, if not, he's going to be on death's door. Like, he will definitely, like, obviously he was, after he gave up his embers in season 3, he couldn't be a hero anymore. But after this, I don't know if he'll even walk anymore after this.
Well, wasn't there was a prophecy that dude,
Sir Night-Eye. He was like, you're going to fight a horrible battle with a major villain and lose.
Yeah. And I think this is definitely it. But it's like we've got to keep All for One away from
Shigaraki from merging.
Yeah. And it's like he's continually getting younger through all of that. So it's like if you can hold him long enough that he just like turns into a baby and like, you know, like goes out of existence the opposite way. Benjamin Button style, you know what I mean?
Right.
Then you know, we'd be good. Yeah, I agree. All Might is probably gone.
Yeah.
But I hope so. I don't know how much he's got in the tank, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he pretty much expended all his abilities in that other fight with All for One in season 3.
The United States of Smash.
Yep.
Such a good name. But dude, this is going to be sick. I cannot wait for it. Like this thing, because this is All Might right here.
Yeah.
Flying around.
I'm sure that's his version of Dark Shadow.
Yeah. Dude. And then like Midoriya is literally holding his arm. Yeah. Which I thought like touching him, but I guess it's his hand.
Yeah, it's his hand.
Okay.
Because you got to remember the way his quirk works. Because remember at the end of season 2 where he met him in the mall, is like he had 4 fingers on him, but if the 5th finger touches, that's when his quirk activates.
That's right. So yeah. And Nate, that was literally one of my predictions.
Yeah.
At the end of the season where All Might's by the statue, was that season 6?
Yeah, that was 6.
Yeah, season 6. Me and Derek were talking, and I literally recorded. I had to go find it somewhere. That I was like, this would be awesome to see. But dude, this is going to be a little whiles away. But
yeah,
you can watch My Hero Academia Vigilantes in between here and then,
and you can catch up. You can recap the first 7 seasons in anticipation for the final season.
I don't know who any of these cats are. They act like
it's a weird. They do a weird clip where they add in another. I don't know. It's the video. It's the content creator more than it is the in correlation to My Hero.
What?
I've seen these videos before. They always do, like, no matter what anime it is, they always cut to like a random cut of this or like something with flowers. Has nothing to do with the anime we watched. It's just, I guess, like their tag, like their signature to know that it's the content creator.
Oh, okay. I was very confused on that, Derek. Very confused. What you gonna do? You know what I mean? What you gonna do? Well, I think the smash attacks are named based on the strength of the attack. The bigger the state, the stronger attack. I could see that. I could see that. Well, Derek, that is our show today.
Yeah.
That's our show. It's a great show. We hope that you enjoyed it, everybody. We'll be back. We're going to be reacting to Dan Dan season 2, episode 1 when it comes out, and then Kaiju number 8 when its first episode of the second season comes out. So we're going to have all of that. But thank y'all so much for being here on a Sunday afternoon. And we hope that you enjoyed this. Again, Derek, what is the show that we're watching?
Osen Newbie Adventurers.
Osen Newbie Adventures. And if you want to join our Fable group, there is the QR code right there in the bottom right hand corner. You can scan that and join our Fable group, where we'll be discussing that as we go through it. But we hope that you have a wonderful rest of your Saturday, everybody. Sunday, it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Saturday, Sunday. Y'all know what I mean.
Right. It's the weekend.
It's the weekend, baby. I'm about to have me some fun. This has been Zach.
And Derek.
Y'all have a blessed week. Bye-bye.